Anthony Slater over at ESPN reported on Wednesday morning about those comments that, some of the players on the team felt a certain kind of way about Pods, because Pods before the season was asked about his ambitions, and he's like, I want to be, better than Stephen Curry. And Anthony Slater wrote an answer that elicited some eye rolls and continued references from several within the organization. And then after their last loss, both Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green had some comments as well. That's why Slater wrote about this. Draymond had, said, I think everybody was committed to winning back in the day. At this point, it doesn't feel that way. I think everyone has a personal agenda in this league, but you have to make those personal agendas work within the team confines. If that doesn't work, you got to get rid of your agenda. And then Jimmy Butler, was asked about that. And he's like, well, everybody's got to be honest with themselves. So we got to get back to doing whatever it takes to win. Everybody might have to sacrifice and so on and so forth, right? And so my sense from those comments, from Anthony Slater's report, and from just reading the room with Warriors fans are so often pointing the finger at Pods and pointing the finger at Kuminga. So over on Threads, I made a post where I was like, who cares if Pods wants to be better than Stephen Curry? Who cares? Warriors shouldn't be side-eyeing him. Fans shouldn't be blaming him. And I said, the old guys are the problem in Golden State, not the youth. Draymond Green has declined, and Jimmy Butler has always been a malcontent who has failed to step up in the biggest moments for multiple years now. As we've talked about earlier in the podcast, last 11 elimination games has not shot the ball often enough or efficiently enough. And I said, this is on them more than anyone else. Still, Steph Curry is still great and deserves so much better. Well, little did I expect, Draymond Green himself responded to that, Tom. He said, who said it was the young guys, Kevin? I said, we. One thing for certain, I don't mince words, and you don't have to speak for me. That's what the Draymond Green show is for. I speak for me always. And then he replied again, and he said, and I'm certain I know far more than you do about winning. You couldn't win your intramural sports. I thought it was a good idea to become a, quote, NBA writer. And if you want to do some in-depth analysis and game breakdown, I will also put you to shame at that. Look, of course, you're a Hall of Famer. Of course, you're going to be better at that than me, Draymond. And I responded to that level-headed response. I felt like I said, when did I say anything about what you said post-game? Which is true. I don't feel like I was talking specifically about him. Not a thing. My Pod's comment was partially about the Anthony Slater report. The players rolled their eyes at his comments / goals, but it was also about what I'm reading from the fans. Warriors fans seem to be mostly pointing fingers at the young guys. I don't think that's fair at all. Butler took 3 shots last night. This was Monday night, and Tuesday night. We know he's capable of much more. And you yourself said this week you've failed the defense so far this year, which is true. Draymond himself said, I've failed our defense when it looks as crappy as it does. I've failed. You can send as many messages as you want until we do it. I'm failing at that. And so, I felt like, yeah, of course, Draymond and Butler could step up like they did, by the way, on Wednesday night, Tom. And then, this is the good one.
What?
Draymond responded again. He said, you have all the answers, genius, and you want more views. Here's your help. Would you like to do a film breakdown? Maybe your basketball knowledge has grown over the last 4 years. The number 1 pick, wow, you stink at this. And attached was a link to my appearance in 2020 on the Ryan Russillo podcast, talking about the case for Killian Hayes as the number 1 pick. It's like, great, Draymond.
That's off.
Great stuff.
I got to hand it to him.
It was great. It was really good.
Was great.
Well done, Draymond.
That was great.
I did respond to that. He has not responded from what I've seen since. And I just said, just the opposite, Draymond. I don't have all the answers, and I'll be wrong plenty of times. Just like Bob Myers was in that same 2020 draft taking Wiseman. And I'll be right plenty of times too, just like he was selecting you years ago. And this is what I really feel here, Tom. I said, your reaction is so strange. You're going back 5 years for this for what? You said this week you failed the defense and Butler needs to be better than taking 3 shots, clearly. It's more reasonable to expect more from you two veterans than from the youth. And I think that's exactly what happened on Wednesday night, Tom. Butler and Draymond were awesome. They were incredible. Kuminga didn't play the whole second half. Pods was typical Pods, but it was Draymond and Jimmy Butler raising their abilities to the level that we all know that they can reach. And what happened? The Warriors had a big win against the Spurs with Draymond defending Wemby better than anybody has this entire season. Jimmy Butler having his best offensive game overall. And Stephen Curry, 46 points, got the support he needed, not from the kids, from the vets, the guys that have been heavily invested in. So I think Draymond knows it. He just likes to talk, and I like to talk too. It's fun to talk trash. Hey. But I loved it.
Kev, I'm going to say it for you. Warriors fans, you're welcome. You're welcome. Without Kev, they don't get that fiery performance from Draymond. Without Kev, you're not getting that amazing 46 supernova from Stephen Curry. Everyone was fired up because they wanted to prove you wrong, Kev, but prove you right by saying, hey, the veterans, as they've come up short before and how good they've done, winning those championships, like this whole Pods and Kuminga, the weird wedge in that locker room that appears because you have Draymond Green saying those things. You're quoting Draymond Green this season. I think you're absolutely right. And I also think the reason why Draymond Green was so fired up and provoked in this is because you struck a chord. You struck a chord with him. And sometimes when it hits bone, it hurts a lot more, right? So I think Draymond, it's great that he's engaged on this and he's interacting with you on this. And I think the Killian Hayes shout out was fantastic. And that's a good, that's good barbs. It's good back and forth. I love this. I loved it. And you know what? Take ownership of it. Tell the Warriors fans you're welcome. And I turned around the season for you because you know what? You did, Kev. You did. It's all because of you. So I'm going to
2 years in a row, Tom. Last year it wasn't the Butler trade. It was me saying, "Don't trade for Butler. Trade Steph and Draymond." 2 years in a row, I helped you guys out. Congrats! You guys haven't won enough.
Yeah, man. Oh, man. I had no idea. I had no idea that you were sitting on that exchange. Like we went, how many minutes in this pod, and you had that in your back pocket. Yeah. So you went. This was when Tuesday when you guys had the back and forth.
This was yesterday, Wednesday. So this was on Wednesday.
Wow.
Yeah, I had my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I got a text. A screenshot of Draymond's two responses to me in one of my group chats. And I was like, oh my God.
Here we go.
Here we go. All right. I got to respond now. I felt like I was very level-headed in my responses, which I typically am. But Draymond, the Killian Hayes thing was very, very funny. That was great. There were some responses to that saying, is this about Ryan or KOC? It's like, no, it's about me.
Yeah, dude. I don't want it to be about me, but I'm going to say it's about me. Ryan has nothing to do with this.
I will definitely own that. That's for sure. Yes. I mean, the biggest mistake of my career covering the draft, I hope. I hope.
But you don't take yourself too seriously, and that's important here, is that we have to have a thick skin when you're working in media. And Draymond Green coming at you about, the Killian Hayes pick, that's good. That's good. And you're able to laugh at it, which is so hard. I think a lot of media folks, I don't think would be able to laugh about something like that because they would take themselves too seriously and get even more dug in and entrenched in your opinion. And instead, we're sitting here. I think that's a wonderful exchange. I think that's great. And you know what? I think Steve Kerr would be very happy with you, the whole Warriors organization. I've had that happen to me before. When I was reporting for the Miami Heat, it was like there were ways that I could get underneath LeBron's skin and kind of alert him to stats or whether he was loafing or whether he was coasting. And it was oftentimes, it was like the media is the only people that they'll listen to sometimes. When the media is writing about some of their weaknesses or their insecurities or their weak points in their game, then they will turn on and reverse course and actually listen to that. If it's a coach, if it's a teammate, if it's someone in their circle, they might not be willing to hear that. But when it's Kevin O'Connor saying that, sometimes it does provoke action in ways that they might not do that for someone within the Warriors organization.